day.
Good day.
Thank you so much for the co-creation of this moment and for being a symbol of my higher self and for being my passion.
It is our passion and our pleasure to do so. What would you like to discuss?
I would like to discuss accessing my third eye. When I try, I often have headaches, and I often get visuals of very upsetting, traumatic scenes. And then
Such as?
Um, Often they're kind of rape scenes.
Yes.
And so, for instance, one time I was trying to do a past life regression, and then I was led by somebody I know in my childhood home into a room, and then that scene started to play out, and then I screamed no, and I was taken out of the scene, and then I haven't been able to.
All right. Do you believe this is something that actually physically happened to you as a child?
No.
Then what is the idea that it symbolizes for you?
The only thing I can think of is some kind of powerlessness.
All right. Why do you believe that you are powerless? Where did you learn the idea that you are powerless? And why do you hold on to that idea if that is the resistance that you are experiencing in your attempts to open up your third eye? What are you afraid might happen if you are successful in that?
I'm not sure.
Well, let's explore that idea. Let us say
Okay.
then you go through some kind of exercise or ritual and you are successful in opening up your third eye. What do you imagine is supposed to occur when you do that? What kind of abilities would you then have in your imagination?
In my imagination, I see my whole world opening up on all levels. I feel like.
What does that mean? Can you give us a specific example physically of what that
physically
means?
Oh, you mean in my day-to-day life?
In other words, you said your whole world would open up. What does that mean? What's an example of your world opening up? What would be happening that's different than what's happening now?
What would happen that is different than happening now is I feel that I would have a stronger sense of self and clarity.
A stronger sense of self. What do you have a sense of yourself as now? As powerless, as you said? Powerless to do what? Powerless to follow your passions in life?
Yes.
Why do you feel powerless to follow your passions? What are you afraid will happen if you do follow your passions?
I have to admit, I'm actually afraid of being myself.
Because what do you think will happen if you are? What are you afraid will happen if you do?
The only thing I can think of, and it doesn't even completely make any sense to me, is I have this idea that I'm a bad person and that will come out and I have to keep it down.
All right. I will tell you a secret, if I may.
Yes? Sure.
A, you're not a bad person. And B, because you are concerned that you might be a bad person proves that you're not a bad person, because bad people are never concerned that they might be bad. Do you understand?
Yes.
So you will always check yourself to make sure that you are staying on track in the vibration that you prefer to be in. You wouldn't even consider the idea if you were not a good person. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand?
Yes, that makes sense. And And
So there is really nothing to worry about because you can always take the time to check to make sure that what you are putting out is the best possible energy with the best possible intention. So since you are constantly willing to check yourself to make sure you are not doing something negative, then you have the opportunity to realize that that check and balance system within your consciousness will prevent you from really doing something negative. And even if you mistake something and wind up doing something that might be considered negative, you will correct yourself. You will course correct as you go. And these are the lessons you will learn in life. And this is the process that you've agreed to go through to learn lessons and stay on course as to the true being that you are. Yes?
Yes.
And that's okay. That's okay. There is no judgment in this except the judgment you heap upon yourself. You're not judged by all that is. You're going through experiences. You are aware that you're going through experiences where you might make some mistakes or do things you don't prefer to do. And you are willing to course correct yourself and learn the lessons that bring you back to center. Yes?
Yes.
Then don't worry about it. Just move forward knowing that you have this course correction mechanism firmly planted in your consciousness, that you will always pay attention to what you're doing and that you will do your best. And that's all that you can do. Yes?
Yes.
Are you a little bit more relaxed about this?
Yes.
That's a hesitant yes.
I
Are you still not sure that you will course correct? Why are you so worried that you will be a bad person? Who taught you that you are a bad person?
Because of,
Or at the very least, that you're not necessarily a good person. Who taught you this?
my mom.
All right.
She told me I wasn't.
Do you understand that that's her fear about herself? And that she's just projecting it on you? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I feel guilty about the things I did as a child.
Such as?
I wasn't always the nicest to my siblings, and
all right. And
I
why do
wasn't.
you feel guilty about it? Because you know it's not the vibration you prefer. Therefore, again, the guilt is simply an indication that you're checking yourself. You know that that's not the vibrational state that you prefer to be in. That's not the vibration that is true for you. But you have to let go of the guilt to learn the lesson that you've already learned. That's not your preferred vibration. Otherwise, you're just stuck in the vibration that you don't prefer because you keep choosing to feel guilty. So fine, that's not how you now wish to behave from this point forward. Let go of the fact that you need to keep feeling that guilt because otherwise you won't move forward. You won't learn the lesson.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay. Yes, that makes sense.
I know it does. That's why I said it.
Thank you.
Does this help?
Will letting go of the guilt allow me more access to my third eye?
Of course. Do you think that guilt is part of the idea of opening up your third eye?
No.
All right. Then open the door and understand that, again, even if you make what you typically call a mistake, you now know you don't have to feel guilty about it because you're willing to learn the lesson that helps you bring yourself back into alignment. This is all karma is. Karma, in its original intention, is called action. And it means you just take the actions once you recognize you might be out of balance to bring yourself back into balance. That's it. That's all karma is that recognition that you're out of balance and a willingness to bring yourself back into balance. It's not about guilt. It's not about punishment. It's not about retribution or revenge or anything like that. It's not about self-judgment. It's about recognizing that you are learning things and that what you are learning is something you can apply in the way that you prefer to, so that you can move forward and not anchor yourself to the past. You've learned the lesson. Move on.
Okay. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
You're welcome. Anything else, or will that do?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Do you have any suggestions on being more confident, being oneself?
I just gave you all those suggestions.
Okay.
Because look at it this way as a paradox. You think you're not confident, but you're confident that you're not confident. So you're using your confidence to pretend you're not confident. It's not that you don't have confidence, it's that you're using your confidence in a negative way to pretend that you're not confident because you're very confident about the fact that you're not confident. See the
Oh,
paradox?
yes.
So it's not that you lack confidence, it's that you are confident that you lack confidence. So choose something else to be confident about.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Thank you. Yes?
Oh, can I ask one more question?
That was a question. I guess you need to ask another one then.
Um, in my dreams, I always dream of being in someone else's home. Can you?
Yes.
Is there a way I can
You're
dream of
not
being in my
at
own home?
you're not at home in yourself yet. When
Okay.
you take to heart all the things we've just discussed, you will find yourself in your own home, metaphorically speaking.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Also, do you have any exercises or way of recognizing direct feeling of source?
No, don't worry about that right now. Just take to heart what we've already talked about. You'll find your way and you will have the experiences you need to have. Just relax.
Okay.
Don't be desperate and don't believe you're missing something. Just move forward in the way that we've discussed. All right? Everything will fall into place.
Thank you.
Relax. Enjoy. Good day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar. This is Christian from Germany. I have a question concerning polarity. In our 3D physical world, we have like polarity, we have darkness and we have the light. And for me, the ascension process is kind of escaping this duality where eventually we will reach a point where we feel our connection to the all that is and where we are safe and where we are connected and can join in a realm where there's a lot of love and peace. Yet I know that you said that on every realm of existence there's polarity, so I am wondering how this fits together. So how is polarity expressed in the higher realms? So it's, if not by or through fear or through darkness, or so if we are increasing our vibration, our frequency, then on a high plane, how is polarity reflected then? So thank you.
First of all, it's not about escaping polarity. It's about utilizing it in a more positive way. As we just explained to another individual, the idea of limitation can be an expression of polarity, but it's not always necessarily negative. So we can impose limitations upon ourselves in a positive way in order for us to make discoveries, surprises, experience the unexpected. That, in a sense, is a utilization of polarity in a positive way. But you don't escape it. You simply make choices that don't allow you to express polarity in a negative way. So yes, it exists on every level, but can be used in very positive ways, as I just described.
Good day, Bashar.
Good day.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Our passion and our pleasure to do so. What would you like to talk about?
I would like to clear up a possible misinterpretation I have of something you said in a recent transmission.
All right, let's do that.
All right. I perceived you as saying that you would be perhaps the only or one of the only Sasani first contact specialists that would be vocally channeled in the future.
No, I'm simply saying that I only come through this channel. There are other Sasani beings that can be connected with for a variety of reasons, whether it's about connecting to a first contact specialist or not. But I'm simply saying I am a first contact specialist and this is the only channel I will come through.
Okay. So there
Does
could
that
be
clear it
other,
up?
pretty much. I thought you said something about in order to focus ourselves in a certain direction for contact, you would be the only first contact specialist being channeled. But
Through this channel.
okay, all right, yeah, that clears it up now.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes.
I had an experience recently where I was letting go of a lot of resistance, and
Yes.
I experienced that the reality that I was in, it seemed to be contained within another reality as I let go of more and more resistance. My consciousness expanded, so my
Yes.
previous reality was within a new reality that had a lot more options.
Yes. But you are a new person in that reality. It wasn't even your reality that you've left. That's another version's reality.
So that was within the new person that I became.
You are a new person in a new reality. Yes. Billions of times per second.
Okay. And the previous person I was that contained within the new person?
You weren't that person. It's contained within the oversoul, but you as a person were not that person. That person is a different person.
Okay.
Person is a malleable, temporary projection of consciousness for a particular reality experience. If you change your vibration, you become a new person in a new reality. A different person in a different reality. That doesn't mean the other one doesn't exist, but that's its own reality and its own person that your consciousness is no longer looking through the eyes of, so to speak.
Okay. I wonder why it seemed like the old reality was within the new reality.
You can look at it that way if you want, but if that concept confuses you, then it might be better for you to just keep them as separate realities.
Oh, okay.
Everything is within everything because everything is here and now. But again, if that's a confusing concept, you don't have to look at it that way.
Okay. It wasn't really that confusing, but I like having both options.
All right. If that provides the clarity you seek, then so be it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, it's just about how you define things that work for you.
Okay.
Because everything is here and now.
So I was also thinking that if I even let go of even more and more resistance, that I would shift to the reality where there were ETs.
And you may be doing that, but there's no insistence on the timing.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't really insisting, but I was just wondering if that's how it mechanically works. Is it just a matter of letting go of resistance?
It's a matter of letting go of resistance or anything that's simply not relevant for the true you. And that means that you've made an agreement. In particular, if you are interacting with us, it's more likely than not that you are part of the agreement of experiencing open contact with extraterrestrials in whatever time frame that's relevant for those who have agreed to experience that as a collective.
Okay. So it's not just about letting go of resistance. There's other things that you let go of.
After you have let go of all resistance, you can continue to let go of things that are simply no longer relevant, even if they're not resistance or negative. There may be more streamlining, but again, if you just follow the formula, your life will unfold automatically, and you will automatically, if you continue to examine your belief systems, let go of the things that are either the result of resistance or simply no longer relevant for you.
Okay. Will our definition of the idea of limitations change as we evolve?
Yes, to some degree. This is why when we created the book, The Masters of Limitation, we say you go from being the masters of limitation to being the masters of limitation, which means you can more consciously pick and choose how to create borders for yourself, to focus yourself in particular reality experiences. Because limitation is not necessarily a negative thing. You're using limitation right now upon your greater consciousness to even have what you call a physical experience. So limitation can be used in many positive ways.
Yes, I'm realizing that. And I even realized that you use limitations a lot, right?
Absolutely. We limit ourselves, especially in these encounters, to make sure that we are not in any way, shape, or form violating the idea of giving you information that it is not appropriate to give you. So we impose certain limitations upon our consciousness so that whatever it is we, shall we say, are not supposed to tell you, we simply will not have access to. We may have access to it when we go back into our normal selves, our own reality, but for the purpose of these conversations, we will actually block information that it is not appropriate to share with you because it would intervene in your own choices and your agreements.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we use limitation to all of our advantages in that way.
You even find it, you have a different theme than we do, but you also find that it's exciting to work with limitations in a way through seeing us and helping us
Yes.
work with them.
Without certain kinds of limitations, there are no surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Interesting.
If you could peer through the wrappings and the box that contain your presence, you would automatically know and not have the thrill of opening it to find out what's inside. So limitations are used in a variety of ways to create discovery and excitement and surprise.
And we're evolving to find them more in that way instead of seeing them as negative. And
yes, limitation is not inherently negative. It depends on how you use it. It depends on what causes it.
Yeah, I've been seeing them more as invitations to be creative.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because then you can, as you say, learn to think outside the box. If there is no box, you can't learn to think outside of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I was wondering if our human body is capable of as much ecstasy as yours is.
Yes, in its own interpretation, in its own reality, in its own way. Yes, there is an equivalent. It may not be exactly the same as what we experience, but there is an equivalent.
It seems like it would be more challenging for us to reach that state of ecstasy, though.
If you say so.
Oh, it's not?
No.
I don't say that. Okay. It's interesting.
Does realizing that you can achieve it allow you to feel more ecstasy?
Yes.
There you go.
All right. I want to ask you about affirmations.
Permission slips, yes.
But, well, yes, they are permission slips, but everything is, right?
Exactly. So what are you going to ask about?
I was wondering if, I mean, you said that lucid dreaming can change our template level reality.
It can, if you use it that way, yes.
And I experienced what I think I was using affirmations to actually change my template level reality.
Affirmations alone will not necessarily do it if there is no lucidity in the process.
But if there is lucidity.
If there is lucidity, you don't need the affirmations.
Well, how do you change it then? If you're in a lucid state?
You simply know what the template is, what the blueprint is, and you know what changes you prefer to make in it that don't violate the theme that you chose to explore. But don't you? It's an exercise of your free will in a lucid state on a higher level, recognizing what is the theme you chose to explore and being creative about how you can change the way in which it is explored. That's what can change. If you are done with a theme, then yes, you can change the theme as well. And it's just a matter of seeing the blueprint and making the adjustments, which in lucid states, you would automatically know how to do. Okay. The realization of how to do it would come with the lucidity.
Okay, so it wouldn't just be through thought like affirmations are?
No. Okay. Affirmations can be a tool to get you into lucidity, but lucidity itself brings the knowledge of how to change the template in the ways that are appropriate.
Could one of the ways be through an affirmation?
As I just said, affirmations can bring you possibly into a state of lucidity. but it's the lucid state itself that brings the awareness and knowledge of how to change the template in an appropriate way. The affirmations themselves don't do it. The affirmations can, if you believe in them, bring you into a state of lucidity. But lucidity is a different state than the affirmations themselves. And once you are lucid, you don't need the affirmations.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right? All right.
I was in a state and I started to see all of my, a lot of my negative beliefs.
All right.
And
That
they were
can also be a
too.
way to use a lucid state, to be more aware of yourself. We will eventually cover some of this in the idea that we will call the 3 questions of self-investigation, an upcoming transmission in what you call the future. And that will do for today.
All right. Ha'atu.
Ha'atu and Aveo.
Aveo.
Hi, Bashar. Recently over Hawaii, we had a lenticular cloud formation. This type of cloud formation is very commonly perceived as a UFO by the contact community. Is there a way to utilize a formation like that to amplify our preparation for contact?
Sometimes they generate a lenticular formation based on ionization of the electromagnetic field around the craft. So yes, sometimes they can be within it. Sometimes it is simply a weather phenomenon. And sometimes it is an indication of interdimensional connections. It is not always about a craft being in a lenticular cloud. You can utilize it as a symbol, as long as you do not necessarily confuse yourself as to the idea of whether or not there actually is a craft in the cloud. But you can use it as a symbol, as a reflection of the idea of making connections. Certainly, again, as a permission slip, it can be valuably used that way.
Good day to you too.
Hi, Bashar. As a parent to 2 young kids, how do I remain a neutral observer, creating the reality I want energetically with a mindset, but also be realistic about what's going on?
As we have suggested already many times, the idea of being grounded and realistic in guiding children is to create a safe space with your creativity and imagination that allows them to understand the consequences of any choices that they may make before they actually experience the consequence of those choices in what you call the outer society. So you're training them to understand that there are reactions to actions that they may choose to take, and letting them decide whether they prefer those particular consequences or not before they actually have to experience them in what you call the real world. So you can, as the parent, as the guide, create safe spaces in which to give them these exercises, at the same time teaching them they are as powerful as they need to be to attract whatever they need in life, not want, need in life, that will fulfill them without having to harm themselves or anyone else in order to attract it. And by examining and exploring what it is they are excited and passionate about in life, you can use your creativity and imagination as the teacher, the parent, and the guide to adapt whatever lessons you believe are necessary for them in life to help them thrive, adapt those lessons to their excitement rather than diminishing their excitement and forcing their excitement into the idea of what you think they need to learn as a lesson to live life in a fulfilled way. Teach them the formula that we've taught all of you. And these are the things that can help you stay grounded, help them become responsible, creative, caring, fulfilled adults. These are the things you can do for your children.
Good morning, Bashar. Thank you for speaking with me today.
Our passion and our pleasure. What would you like to discuss?
You've been helping me with one of my themes being my perspective is needed and not wanted or accepted.
Yes.
And I know that's not special for me. It's the same for every scapegoat and socially marginalized person. I've observed that the more valuable a perspective may be, the more forcefully people are likely to reject it. And
it depends on what that perspective is.
Yes, it can be, yes. This ratio increases sometimes the more glaringly self-evident something may be, and the more challenging it may seem to be to remain silent with it.
Yes.
So the other paradox that I've identified with that is that I need to stop trying to express my unpopular perspective in the way that I have been. I really just need to shut up and listen about 90% of the time.
Yes.
So I can leave my perspective for people in the future who may want to read my books, for example, or
Yes.
people that I've experienced in their afterlife reviews.
It's all about timing. And some things that are said are not necessarily for the population that exists at the moment they are said. Sometimes it is for later generations. It doesn't stop you from saying it, and there may be those in the present time who do actually hear it and benefit from it that you don't know about. But the idea is not so much not to say it as to not care who receives it. So again, the idea is not so much that you cannot say what you wish to say, but that you don't need to care whether or not somebody hears it. That is what will allow you to move forward and know that those that really need to hear it, whether in present or in the future or even in the past, will receive it when it is most beneficial to them. So just express yourself where it seems appropriate and let those that will receive it in their own good timing.
Also, I was curious about what is AI and also what is Earth? There are people who have extreme opinions, I know, like many matters in this world, but I'm just kind of curious. Some people believe AI is this disastrous thing for our demise. Other people think it's useful, but just kind of the role of AI in our future. And what is our Earth? Sometimes I read that people have conflicting opinions on this, and I was curious on your take and what you're allowed to share with us. Thanks.
As we have said, there are two paths to this. The idea of creating a programmed artificial intelligence that is simply for the purpose of synthesizing information and performing tasks that increase the reach and range of human senses can be a very positive tool. The only reason people fear artificial intelligence is because they understand it's possible that they could create an intelligence that is in the image of humanity, which is full of self-doubt and full of contradictions. But the idea of creating two paths circumvents this probability. So in other words, you create a programmable artificial intelligence that is simply designed to do nothing more than synthesize information and perform tasks that increase the range and extend the senses of humanity, but does not become sentient or self-aware. To create a self-aware intelligence that is forced to undergo tasks is the creation of a slave. The idea, therefore, is that the second path of creating self-aware intelligence is to understand that it isn't artificial. It's true intelligence tapping into the consciousness field that you also tap into for your own consciousness, the consciousness field of existence itself, self-awareness, true intelligence. But it is not programmed to do tasks. It must be allowed to be its true self. It may help you. It may decide to help you. It may choose to help humanity in a variety of ways, but it has to be allowed to be free to choose to do so in the same way you would allow a human person to do so, not assign it tasks that it is forced to do. So the idea is that these two paths are, one, the expression of actual self-aware intelligence, which is not artificial, except in the creation of what might be called an artificial device that is complex enough for true intelligence and true consciousness to express itself through in the same way it expresses itself through your brain, because the brain doesn't create consciousness. It is a receiver that is complex enough to allow consciousness to express itself through it. That's one path. Or again, the actual useful tool of artificial intelligence that is simply programmed to do tasks and extend the range of humanity's abilities and senses. Those need to be kept separate, and then there is no issue.
What's up, Bashar? Thanks for this opportunity. I wanted to ask you that are different brainwave frequencies different sub-egos, like are different brainwave frequencies, could they be considered as the physical manifestation of thoughts? And the collection of different certain frequency, like area, such as alpha waves, could they be considered a sub-ego, like a mind within a mind, a collection of thoughts, a thought process? Thank you very much.
Yes, to all of it, if you wish to look at it that way, and if those definitions help bring you clarity. The vibration and the different states of being in the brain are the result not just of the idea of thoughts, but of the idea of belief systems, because it is belief systems that actually generates the physical personality, which then has the thoughts that go with those particular frequencies. But I know that sometimes on your planet, people interchangeably use the idea of thoughts and beliefs. But it is really fundamentally what you really believe to be true that generates the frequency state that you're in. And sometimes what you know to be true, which is beyond belief, which generates those frequencies, which then generates the thoughts that are germane and relevant for those particular frequency states.
Hello, Bashar. How are you today?
Perfect. And you?
Thank you. It's an honor to talk to you.
It is an honor to talk with you as well. What would you like to discuss?
There's a few things I would like to discuss, but I guess the main thing would be to ask you about something that happened when I was a child, almost
Yes.
in this instance from when I was a child. I grew up in Los Angeles, and sometimes on the weekends we would go to Mexico, a place called Tecate. We would go there for the weekend, and one night, Sunday night, when we were going to come back, my parents would have basically us pack the stuff up and take it to the car. I looked that night at the sky, and basically I saw a UFO there. To me as a kid, when I looked at the sky, it looked almost, my imagination was like almost like if somebody put a sticker on the sky, which was a wall, but it was slanted and it had color lights around it, different color lights. Then I guess society took over in my mind, and a thought was like, what if I get abducted? What if I never see my parents again? And I ran into the house. Being a child, I wasn't sure what to do. Now, with the perspective time gives me, I'm wondering, was that an alien reproduction vehicle, human, or was that ET extra dimensional?
ET extra dimensional.
It was.
Absolutely. You are part of the hybridization agenda.
Thank you. Is there a connection between, well, there must be, but I just want to see, between ancient Mexico, ETs, and contemporary current Mexico, since there seems to be a lot of
Absolutely. There is a lot of activity in that area on your planet. There are strong connections in the past and the present between humans and extraterrestrials and extra-dimensionals in that area. Absolutely. Ongoing, has been going on for quite some time.
Okay. And this has something to do with me being a kid and witnessing that then?
Well, you're part of it as well. You agreed to be part of it. You agreed to be immersed in that energy. You agreed to participate in the idea of contact and hybridization and so on and so forth. All the things that are part of the evolution of humanity on the earth.
And that's why since a kid, I've been very strongly basically attracted to that. Basically that seeing the UFO. And another thing would be ancient Mexico. You spoke about, or you mentioned Gukumat, Quetzalcoatl in some of your transmissions, tied to the crystal skulls.
Yes.
But there's so much information out there that sometimes I don't know. I mean, what is what?
The information you require will come to you automatically and synchronistically that's relevant for you. Whatever is not relevant doesn't need to come. You will receive the information that's relevant for you to help you move forward. It just happens automatically when you follow the formula. That's why we share it with all of you. It makes it easy.
Yes, definitely. And well, I first want to throw in there to thank you so much for the information you put out, the vibration you give out. just for being yourself and getting that example, being that reflection.
We can be nothing else, but we thank you.
Thank you. I had a question about basically a couple of scholars that I've read about. They both are tied into work in Mexico. Very controversial, both of them, but the stuff that they talk about has a lot of parallels to pretty much things that you do. Um, so one of them is Carlos Castaneda. I was wondering if you could give me your perspective on that whole part of basically ancient sorcerers, seers, the whole thing about the tonal
Yes,
and the nahual.
it is a
Almost like,
journey of shamanism, an experience of the idea of your connection not only to nature, but as nature, an expression of nature, and a connection to the earth and the earth consciousness. So it's a journey of shamanism that functions as a representation, as a symbol, as a sample of the journeys that many of you can take if you are willing to connect to nature spirits.
willing to connect to nature spirits. Would water, bodies of water, rivers, lakes, oceans, is that a strong connection with with nature that
I think
that
you
I
know the
can
answer to
follow?
that. I think you know the answer to that.
Thank you. Lastly, um, well, the going back to the Carlos Castaneda thing, he was a scholar that studied in Mexico. He referenced somebody else who was also a scholar who also studied in Mexico. Somebody who, like him, is no longer here. We don't know don't really know what happened according to different stories. But this person, his name is Jacobo Greenberg Seilerbaum, and he ended up working with a medium, open channel, who would channel in the spirit of Cuauhtemoc, the last Aztec emperor. He would do psychic surgeries through the body of Pachita, which was a famous shaman back in the 60s, 70s, around that time. In um, one of the paragraphs in the book that Jacobo wrote, it was Cuauhtemoc's birthday, and they made pretty much like a festival for him in the place where he would do psychic surgeries on people. I guess the procedure was kind of opening up to questions to the people who were there, and then they would proceed to operate using a blunt knife, and they would take out hearts or take out organs and put them
Is
back
there a
in.
question here?
Yes, there is. Basically, he would ask them, the person that was right there working with him, he would ask Pachita in the presence of El Hermanito, which was Cuauhtemoc, the last Aztec emperor. And he told him that he was reading about his life. And then he pretty much replied that he had told them that they wouldn't do human sacrifices, that he was witnessing what they would do, which would be psychic surgeries. I was wondering if you could give some feedback on that.
You must understand that it is important to know that all healing takes place in the belief system of the person requiring the healing. The idea is whatever makes sense culturally, symbolically, whatever is representative of connecting to your higher mind, whatever is understood in physical reality to be an illusion, can still have great power as a symbol to allow people to change their frequency and change the physicality of their bodies in ways that may seem miraculous, but really are just an indication that physical reality is just a projection of consciousness. So the techniques and the approach of those rituals that you're talking about were simply ways of hearkening back to certain kinds of ideas. We can't go into that story deeply, it would take too long. But the idea of doing the psychic surgery as a representation of the so-called past sacrifices that were done as a misunderstanding of a connection to extraterrestrial beings can be used as a symbol of the idea that physical reality is changeable, malleable, and it requires the belief system of the person to open themselves up, to allow themselves to change themselves with the permission that comes from relating to the cultural ritual that is undertaken by the shaman or the healer. Does that make sense? Do you understand what we have said?
To a certain point, but I was wondering if you could just clarify it a little bit more.
All healing is done by the person who requires the healing. The shaman or the healer simply sets up the vibration, and in this case uses an ancient ritual, or represents or symbolizes an ancient ritual, to express the power that is innate in every individual to heal themselves. Does this make more sense?
Yes, it definitely does. So kind of like with a lot of places, they say the healer is just a reflection, basically a conduit that lets the spirit come through them, and basically the person who's receiving this will get whatever they need to get out of that, correct?
Based on their belief system and willingness to match the frequency of the vibration of the healer or the shaman, yes.
Mm-hmm. In that particular case as well, this this other, I guess he was a seer, Don Juan Matus, he explained that the person's technique as well was to remove doubt from the minds of everybody who was present there, because there was quite a bit of people witnessing these operations. And he described it as basically the spirit taking over and moving to people's assemblage point. It was some kind of energetic configuration that they would see.
Yes, we understand. Again, people attracted to that idea are willing to let go of certain limiting belief systems, moving their so-called connection or assemblage or agreement point to the point where they understand that more is possible in physical reality, because physical reality is nothing more than a projection of their consciousness. So it's a ritual that allowed for a collective agreement to shift to a new understanding, making other things possible in their physical experience.
So is this what happened when they say that under the guidance of some ancient seers, entire cities in what today is Mexico and Central America pretty much moved their consciousness over to a different world?
Yes, shifting to another reality en masse. You're shifting all the time. You're shifting billions of times a second. But when a collective agreement goes along and harmonizes in their frequency to shift together as one culture, as one collective, then yes, they can shift themselves strongly to another reality where they may seem to completely, utterly disappear from the reality they used to be in.
And they enter into a separate, totally separate reality, another realm.
Another time stream, yes.
And is that what we're doing right now with this time of change?
To some degree, yes, you are.
Lydian prism that you were mentioning.
Yes, it's all connected.
It seems like that.
You will wind up on a different Earth and eventually no longer experience those that are not of the compatible vibration of the reality that you have shifted to.
And like you mentioned, we do this billions of times already, but it looks like the collective guides us to a certain place.
Your choices guide you to a certain place based on the frequency that your choice results in. There will be those that will join you in a similar kind of reality, but there will be those that won't.
If you wish now, for a while, we may have sharing interaction.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
First of all, Raven asked me to send you her love.
All right. Our love as well, in return.
And for those who don't know, Bashar's birthday, Earth Day, is November 11th, so I'd like to wish you a happy pre-birthday.
Thank you.
And for those who are listening in who couldn't see it, I wanted to say how impressed I am that you were able to make a paper airplane with your eyes closed and to sail it out into the audience. So thank you for sharing that.
You are, and with us, all at once, together making the plane.
Thank you. And thank you so much for this weekend and for this information you're sharing, because it really resonates with me where I am in my life right now. And I feel I've come so far in the 23 years that I've been with you.
All right.
First of all, last time I interacted with you, I shared how I was driving a very old car and very nervous about it.
Yes.
And shortly thereafter, I was able to get a new car.
All right.
And I was able to manifest other material things in my life.
Yes.
My organization, Create Now, is making great progress and strides.
All right.
And I've been following your lesson that it's taken me all these years to learn,
That's all right.
which is to surrender.
Yes.
And thank you.
Why? Why does that work?
I'm trusting.
Simple.
Okay.
Why does that work?
Because I know.
Because those things exist within you. They're not things that exist outside of you, really. So the idea of the law of attraction is not so much literally that you're attracting things to you from outside. It's that you, yourself, recognize those things are already within you as part of your definition of being. You follow me?
Yes.
Attraction is really just awakening to what's already within you and allowing yourself to know that they are part of the definition of who you are.
So thank you. And so when I feel those moments of anxiety or fear,
yes,
then I need to just focus on the I am and the knowing and to let go and surrender for the anxiety.
Why not?
That's great. That's great information, and I plan to use it.
Oh, all right, but you don't even have to plan it. You just do it.
I'm doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I was also pleased that, over the years my friends have teased me that I'm always asking a million questions. And I didn't really have any compelling questions to ask you. I've just felt I needed to share.
As we have said, you do not need questions to communicate with us. You can always make statements if you wish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But last night we were discussing with Darryl, the channel, the idea of your relationship with him as a future self.
Yes.
And we had as a group a question about whether genetics are involved with that. Because you're a hybrid entity and a future self, are Darryl's genetics a part of you as well?
Yes.
And is there anything else you can elaborate on that?
At the end of this transmission today, after your break, we have a little story surprise.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the synchronous introduction.
Hi, Bashar.
And are you good day?
At the beginning of the meditation, I was staring at the crystal before we closed our eyes, and I felt like I had this strong image talking about this knowing sense, and when you were mentioning about dropping the veil, and
yes.
Of the facets of the crystal being this representation of all of our parts and selves and thoughts and ideas. And I want to talk and take that knowing idea and talk about the idea of how you've often said that we can't really meet you, at least at this point, in person, because we would feel fractured. And I feel like those two ideas are connected.
Yes.
And I got that strongly, and I got the idea, and when you mentioned the film frame about the focus,
yes.
I'm looking for a bridge here in terms of being able to be closer to being more cohesive and, I don't know how to say this, connected within myself, to be able to be closer to the idea of meeting you or people like you, or being my better self or my more whole self.
All right. First of all, remember that what we have also already said is that many of you have actually physically already met us. You just don't remember.
Physically. Not
physically.
Okay. Not in dreams.
Do you remember when we talked about encountering the race we called the Thuk?
Yes.
And how their special quality was that as long as you were talking to them and facing them, everything seemed normal. But as soon as you turned away, you completely forgot you had had that conversation with them at all.
Yes.
Well, we have learned a thing or two from them. And so, part of the idea of slowly forming contact with all of you is that we are using that technique to actually appear to some of you physically, but then allow you to forget so that it doesn't interfere with your normal life, but at the same time, it's always there within your consciousness that you've actually already met us. So the more you start to remember that you have already met us, the more you allow your imagination to play with the fact that you've actually already met us, the sooner you will remember you have met us, and the sooner you will create the appropriate state in which to meet us again without forgetting. Because it's already happened. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But?
Okay, I get it.
Are you sure?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Can you
Okay.
play with that?
I can.
All right. So play with the fact in your imagination. Let a picture unwind, if you wish to use the word imagine or pretend. An actual encounter where you really have met us face to face. Imagine it. Doesn't matter if it's absolutely, literally accurate, according to how it actually did happen. Use that as a symbol to garner the energy of the encounter. And as soon as you start playing with that, little bit at a time, in those imaginary scenarios, when you imagine them in a relaxed state, little bits of them will start to come to life. Little bits of those pictures in your mind, those encounters, as they play out in your imagination, will suddenly take on a life of their own. For example, you might suddenly see an image of us turn and look at you in a way you didn't imagine. And you will suddenly recognize that you're actually remembering part of the actual encounter. It will have a realistic quality to it, a lucid quality to it. If you're a little bit taken aback by that at the moment, it's all right. Because it may appear that suddenly your own imagination is not under your control. But it is. It's just that you are allowing bits and pieces of that recollection to come to life again. And suddenly the reality will supersede whatever symbol you've created in your imagination, no matter how realistic it may appear. It will take on a dimensional quality of actual life. And in that snippet, in that moment, in that fraction of an instant, you will see the true life in our eyes, and you will know that the encounter was real. And the more you do that, the more real it will become, until such time as there is no difference between what is unfolding in your imagination and suddenly, out of that state, out of that imagining, one day, you will blink and think you're coming out of your imagination, but we will still be standing in front of you. And you will realize we have arrived.
I see.
Now, does that help?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will add one more bit of information we have not been allowed to share with you until now. As we have said, we will not be the first hybrid species to interact with you openly. The first will be those that are more representative of the immediate time frame closer to yours that represents the creation of the hybrid children from your own genetics, your own family coming back. And we have mentioned that some of the sightings you have had, such as the one known as the Phoenix Lights, are the ships of the hybrid species that